Huzzah! I am back. Welcome, film crew, filmmaker IQ here in the house. Come to a live stream. Let me know you're alive in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today's title is Fall Guy Furiosa failing to get people excited about something new. Now I have been through a ringer of a couple weeks. Like it's been crazy. So I haven't been able to stream. I wanted to stream some more. I want to kind of get back into a rhythm of streaming. This last couple weeks has just been brutal, and I'll get more into it later. But I wanted to talk about, let's kind of talk about Fall Guy, Furiosa, and failing to get people. So let's dive right into it. So I went and saw Fall Guy about a week and a half ago, a couple weeks ago, and I gotta say I really enjoyed that movie. I felt the movie was very comedic, and again, it's like I'm a sucker for movies about making movies because I like to think that I can make movies. So obviously the whole movie was sort of just, exciting and fun. I thought it was a little too long. So if I were to give you, so what is Fall Guy about? Fall Guy is about a stunt actor who has a major accident and he's in love with the DP, who's played by Emily Blunt, and the Fall Guy, the main character is Ryan Gosling, which in my mind, Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds have started to kind of merge into one person. I don't know about you guys, but for some reason, like when I see Ryan Gosling, I kind of think of Ryan Reynolds, even though they're really different. And Ryan Reynolds has kind of started going off into his own like Ryan Reynolds brand, where it's like there's only one thing that Ryan Reynolds gives you, and it's just that one character. Whereas Ryan Gosling can still play like he still has a little bit of mystery. He still has a little like a little etherealness to him. He can be Ken, and he can be somebody that's like charming as well. He can be the nice guy from that movie, The Nice Guys. So he can be a lot of different things. Greetings, Rigel7. How you doing? Oh, by the way, hello, Hares, and hello, Biff Gibson, and hello, Rigel7. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to this chat about chat. So Ryan Reynolds plays this stunt actor. He has an accident, and he's in love with the DP on the film he was working on, and he's a stunt double for a famous guy, and he gets hurt, so he decides to like just disappear, and then one day he's so just down on himself, right? He just disappears, and then one day he gets a phone call, hey, he broke it off with Emily Blunt. He just kind of ghosted her. Hey, Emily Blunt's a director now, and she wants you to be in her movie. And so he flies all the way to Australia to do this movie, and he gets involved with this big plot that involves like the star gone missing, and there's all kinds of. I mean, it's a comedy. It's actually it's a pretty funny comedy. I enjoyed it for the most part. Very enjoyable. I thought it was a little long. It's like movies these days tend to have this need to like pack in an extra plot point, like one extra plot point that you don't feel is entirely necessary. It's like, you could get through the entire plot, you can get through the entire story, but if we don't include that one extra plot point, there's probably an executive note, you gotta give me one extra like sequence or scene, because otherwise people will feel like they're being gypped, like the movie was just not enough of a movie. And so it's like, no, we need a little like maybe just leave one like action sequence out, and we could just be done in like 95 minutes, and it would feel like really good, and like, oh good, that was fun, I was entertained, and I got to go along my day. No, they just got to get like one extra sequence just to make sure you got your money's worth. And that's the thing about modern movies. Rigel7 says, anyone who can do both Lars the Real Girl and Drive is a guy with range. Yeah, Gosling has a lot of range, and he's a lot of, I think, I wrote this on a Facebook post. I said he's got a lot of. I think he's got the curse of being having good chemistry with basically any leading lady. You put any leading lady up against Ryan Gosling, I think you're going to have like chemistry, because I think he just jives with almost everybody. Like he's just so almost like with Drive, it was like he was very blank. Like the whole idea was he was just a blank slate. You could like project your own emotions onto Ryan Gosling. But then like when you saw like his work on Ken, or as Ken in the Barbie movie, and for all the people that, whatever you want to think about the Barbie movie, Ryan Gosling did a good job in the movie. Like he was able to play the comedic side supporting character if you watch any of his stuff on SNL, when he's a guest host on SNL, he's always great. Like he's always really good at doing comedy. So yeah, and I just, to me, he's got the same kind of looks that Ryan Reynolds has. Like Ryan Reynolds is also a strikingly good-looking guy, but Ryan Reynolds tends to have just now completely clustered into this one type of Ryan Reynolds package. It's like Ryan Reynolds cannot be a genuine sweetheart like lover in a romantic comedy. He has to be sarcastic, like pointing out. And it's just, to me, I don't know. It just feels like it's starting to wear a little bit thin. Like I appreciate it. Like I like the shtick, but it just feels like it's getting weird and thin. I don't know why am I dissing on Ryan Reynolds for some reason? Why am I dissing on Ryan Reynolds to compliment Ryan Gosling? It's just maybe in my mind they just kind of like have kind of melded into one person. Anyhow, all right. So yeah. So and then Revitron Prime brings up gonna see Furiosa Day and excited. He says here it's flopping. Fall Guy flopped like hard. Like when I saw it, it was like 2 other people in the movie theater, and I didn't see it opening weekend. I saw it like maybe a week or 2 after opening weekend. And then yesterday I went to see Furiosa. And Furiosa, I thought I was going to be like the only person in the theater. I got there, I bought my ticket, and like I bought my ticket like at 4 o'clock for an 8 o'clock showing. It was like I was the only person that had a ticket in that theater. Only one. It's opening weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend, and I'm the only person there. I get there. There's a couple in the back, so I'm like, okay, I'm not the only person here. And once the trailers get going, and once the movie actually starts, like a family comes in, and a family with like younger kids, and it's. I mean, I don't know what's Furiosa rated. I don't think it's R rated, is it? I mean, it's got some pretty brutal stuff. Furiosa. Did I spell Furiosa wrong on the thing? No, I spelled it right. Furiosa is rated what, guys? I'm going to look it up real quick. I have no idea. It doesn't say anywhere. I guess maybe back in the old days, ratings were like a big deal, but nowadays it's like, who cares what a movie's rated? It's not even on the Wikipedia. You'd think it'd be like right there on the... Wow. I looked... Oh, it's an R-rated film? Doing the split seeing the R-rated film despite being 14... Oh, I know. He's talking about the first movie. That's so weird. It's so weird that I can't find the rating of Mad Max Furiosa rated R. Is it rated R? It's rated R. Okay. Well, this is like a 10-year-old kid in the... Well, yeah. I mean, it feels like it's an R-rated movie. Hi, ISO Facker. Thanks for making me pronounce that. Anyhow, so yeah, I was the only... I thought I was going to be the only person. It ended up being like maybe 10 people in the whole theater. It's Memorial Day weekend, and there's 10 people for an 8:40 showing of Furiosa. Now, the movie I enjoyed. It's... Look, I've often said on stream that Mad Max Fury Road is like one of my top movies of all time. Like, I consider it probably the best action movie ever made. So I'm not a Mad Max fan. I wasn't a Mad Max fan up until that point. Like, I think I saw one of the Mad Max movies my friend was showing to me, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But it wasn't like a diehard fan. And when I saw it, I'll go ahead and... I think we're going to get into the trauma portion of the show. Okay. So last weekend was Mother's Day, a couple weekends ago. And if you guys follow me channel, you kind of know a little bit. My mother passed away on my birthday last year in July. So Mother's Day for me was kind of a milestone because the day I took my mom out for sushi, and the day after I recognized that she was like not remembering any stuff. Her brain was like weird. Like I would ask her like, hey, what do we have for dinner on Mother's Day? She said, I don't remember. And it struck me as weird because I took her out to a big dinner, right? So I thought maybe it's just, but I took her to the hospital and then they found out she had a stroke. So Mother's Day was always kind of a traumatic thing. So I felt really, so the weird thing is when Mother's Day came on, OneDrive's like, hey, remember these photos from back, 9 years ago? And it was like my mom in the hospital. So like really traumatic, like hit me really hard to see that image again, like 9 years ago. And I had hair too. So I mourned the loss of my hair. But But anyhow, during that time, this is 9 years ago, I was like, well, I feel terrible. I'm just going to go see a movie. And I go see a movie, and it was Mad Max Fury Road. I had no idea what the movie was about. I'm like, Mad Max Fury Road, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to go see it. I don't care. I'm not going to look at a review. I'm not going to look at a trailer. I love it when I see movies like that. Like, I prefer that over. I don't want to watch the trailers necessarily, although, the Joker trailer is a pretty masterful trailer. I'm sold on Joker. I'm definitely going to see Joker. But I like walking the movie just cold and just enjoy the movie completely blind. And George Miller with Mad Max Fury Road was able to pull off something amazing. And that was he threw you into this world, and he doesn't explain it. He just shows it's just what it is. And you're so overwhelmed with the amount of imagination in this movie, right? And I'm talking about Fury Road here. So I consider Fury Road probably one of my top movies. That made a top 5. It would definitely be in the top 5 of all time because I love that movie so much. Now, Furiosa. So I'm walking in loving Fury Road. Furiosa, cut to the chase. I enjoyed it. I really did. It was to me, it was like a side story. Like if I hadn't seen Furiosa, would I feel like, oh man, I missed out a lot? No, honestly, because I felt Furiosa was a good movie. It was a good playtime inside this world. It didn't challenge or make me feel like, wow, this is so cool. This is so different. I mean, I appreciate seeing it. It's a great movie in its own respect. It's not Fury Road. Fury Road is like a thrill ride. Fury Road is like strap on your safety harness. We're from the very first rev of the engine. It's like we're going on a ride, and it never lets up. I remember seeing the first time I saw Fury Road. It was so utterly gutturally intense. You could feel the adrenaline, just the power of that movie when I first saw it in the movie theater. I ended up watching it 4 times in the movie theater. It was such a great ride. Right, Furiosa is more of a personal story about this woman, how she became Furiosa, and it goes through her being abducted from as a child, taken into under the care of the warlord, who's played by Chris Hemsworth, who does a fantastic job. I thought Chris Hemsworth was just fun because I feel like he was so tired of playing Thor. He's like, I just want to play a villain. Just make me villain. So he just got to ham it up. I mean, I think he's a little bit over the top in the movie, but I think he's enjoying being just overly mean and chewing the scenery and all that stuff. He's just having fun with it. Right? So, and I don't remember the point. Other than that, I thought Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of surprising. She doesn't actually show up till halfway through the movie. Before that, it's Furiosa as a young girl, so we really don't get to see that. We get to see the Bullet Farm, we get to see Gasoline Town, which is cool because in Fury Road they're just kind of mentioned. Oh, we're going to go to Bullet Farm, we're going to go to Gasoline Town. Here, you actually get to see it. You get to see kind of the sense of where everything is. I mean, there's a lot of it's not necessarily remember berries. It's more here's what led up to it. So it makes a great prequel. Is it essential viewing? No, I don't think it is. Especially if you don't love Mad Max Fury Road the way I love Mad Max Fury Road, or even if you just really, really like Mad Max Fury Road, I don't think this movie does a whole lot more. But if you like it, then by all means go see Furiosa. And that may be why it's not doing that great in the box office. Maybe because people are just not that interested in Mad Max, the Mad Max world. Maybe we're living too much of the Mad Max world or something. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. ISO Facker, what did you just say here? I hadn't seen Fury last year and was complete with Fury. Fast and Furious was already at a breaking point. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie. Fury Road was better. I would agree with that. Laughter down. I think Fury Road is Fury Road is a masterpiece. I feel this movie is good. It's really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Like I felt emotionally connected and fulfilled by the movie. It just, I don't know. I'm just like, if it wasn't for Fury Road, this movie couldn't exist. But I feel like Fury Road needs to exist in order for this movie to be justified. So it's sort of like it's like a required sequel. It's just not like you don't have to go down. Does that make any sense? It's like, like I don't know. It's like, it's weird, right? Because I feel like I would recommend this movie to anybody. Like, yeah, you want to see a movie, go see it. But I don't know. For some reason, it's like, I can't say I can't say like you're going to be in love with this movie if you don't have a deep, intimate relationship with Fury Road. If that makes sense. Okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on stream today. So I'm going to get into the last topic, and then we can kind of chat for a little bit. And that is, let's see what you're saying. Rigel7 says, if you don't love Fury Road by now, you'll never and ever love Fury Road. Ooh la ooh ah. There you go. You heard something about Beetlejuice 2024. I was starting to listen more and more into Beetlejuice, the musical, because my friend got me to go see Beetlejuice. And let me tell you, the musical is way better than even the movie. Like, the musical does, I don't know, there's this weird thing on Broadway. And so I'm going to go to New York here in about a week and a half, because I've never been in New York City. I've always wanted to go to New York City and go to B&H Photo. No, just kidding. I'm going to go. Of course I'm going to go to B&H Photo, right? But I've always wanted, in my entire life, wanted to go to New York City. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've flown up and down Manhattan Island. I know where all the boroughs are. I've watched movies upon movies about Manhattan. I love New York, but I've never been there. I've always been a California, West Coast kind of guy. So I wanted to go I'm going to go to New York City. And my friend's like, okay, well, we need to, you want to see a Broadway musical? Yeah. Well, what do you want to see? Well, let's go watch Back to the Future. I'm like, okay, whatever. Because he was right about Beetlejuice. I loved Beetlejuice, the musical. Like, the musical was so, so good. So what is it about Broadway that can take sequels, that can take old movies and revitalize them, and for the most part, maybe better than Hollywood, actually make them good? Like, they made Beetlejuice really good, and it's like they took The Producers, which was a good movie, but they made a better musical out of the movie. They took Beetlejuice, which is a great movie, but they made even a more deeper, impactful, meaningful play out of the source material. It's like, I think part of the thing is that Broadway there is this testing process, right? You do a show in preview and you workshop it. You workshop it, and you do it in front of audiences. And you get a sense of what works and what doesn't, and you keep building and building and building. So you start with a source material that you are comfortable with, right? That you are familiar enough with, like Beetlejuice. Okay, we're all familiar with the Beetlejuice source material, but now you can play with it. Now you can kind of tweak some things. You can hone in on a particular thing. Like in the musical, Lydia's mom is dead. So we can play with the death aspect. In fact, the very first song, or the second song, is, better get used to it. This is a show about death. Like, we can actually delve into this topic like much harder and much deeper than the original movie did, right? So it feels like Broadway has this track record of being able to take source material movies and make them better. Now, not every source material Broadway show that's based on a classic movie has worked out. Let's be completely honest. I think people are not going to have good memories of the Carrie musical. I think that's kind of a meme on Broadway circles. It's like, we don't talk about the Carrie musical, right? But anyhow, yeah. So we're going to see Back to the Future. Let me get to your couple comments. I'll continue on to my thoughts here. Here's Rigel says, here's one. Any suggestion? A good solid tripod. I have a rinky-dinky future spot, Best Buy one for stills, and I got a big boy film. I want to get a big boy film. Look into the brand that's not bad is Newer. Neewer. Go on Amazon. There's a Newer tripod for about $125. It's not the greatest. So there's tripods and there's tripods, right? So when you get to like Monfrado is kind of your most basic basic professional level, but that's going to start you about $200 to $300. A newer tripod, Neewer, newer tends to make kind of knockoff stuff, and it's not terrible. It will suffice. You can probably get it for about $100 or so. Just make sure you get one that's a fluid head tripod. Then you get to like Sackler. Then you get to like, Miller, and those are going to be $1,000 plus. Now I've got 2 Sackler tripods. I've beaten them up to hell. They still work like really, really well. So, if you can spend the money, I've had those Sacklers for probably 20 plus years, and they will outlast anything, right? But if you can get a newer, or even, I know Sunpack probably makes one. I'm trying to think of other ones. If you want to step up to Monfrado's not bad. Like, Monfrado is kind of like your most basic professional level tripod. Anyhow, that's that. Answer question that. Let's see. Different but related. I sincerely think the idea of redoing movies with the promise that bomb instead of making it hits is a good idea. So the problem with that is, if it bombs, no one will want to see the new one, because it's like no one cares, right? Yeah, bloody Carrie. No one wants to talk about Carrie. Hey, Mathan, you made it. Okay, cool. Let's kind of move a little bit here sideways. I'm going to kind of go a little stream of thought. So I talked about movies. So I had a really rough week. And part of that, it was just a lot of work. And part of that was basically a relationship ended for me. And I don't want to go too much into detail, but basically it was I can't be dating you anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. We don't have to be. So I exited that relationship. I don't want to spend too much time on that, because I don't really want to talk too much about that, but I want to talk about some of the ramifications of that. And one of those things was, I had bought, this person that I was seeing was a big Disney person. And I hadn't been to Disneyland in 10 plus years, 15 years, maybe. So much so that, well, let me back up here. So I bought 3 tickets to go to Disneyland or California Adventure with a Southern California pass, because Southern Californians can get in for, it ends up being about $90 a day if you buy three days. And that's not bad, considering a single day ticket costs $169. Yeah, that's how much it is. And so the thing is, we had plans originally to go, and then those fell through. I don't want to get into details, but those fell through originally. All right, whatever. Let's pick another day. And then we picked another day, and then the breakup happened before that day happened. So I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking, these tickets expire on June 1st. It is May something or another, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I was like, I'm not going to go. And then I was like, well, but then Disney takes all my money, and I don't get to experience whatever, And I used to be a big fan of Disneyland. As a kid, I loved it. As a young adult, I loved it. Right? I loved it, but I just stopped going because I was no longer playing in the band that used to go to Disneyland. Like, they would go every year. And I used to go with them, and I loved it. I loved doing it around Christmas time. It was just fun, right? So I'm like, and then I didn't want to go by myself, because I thought maybe if I go by myself, the FBI would put me on a list, be like, oh my God, this guy is a creepy pervert and all that. But I Googled it, and people were like, oh, no, I go to Disneyland by myself. And yeah, guys can go to Disneyland by themselves. Like, okay, fine. I'll go to California Adventure one day. I'll spend the night at a hotel, not the Disneyland hotel, because it's like $675 for one night on a Thursday night to stay there at Disneyland. I'm like, I'm going to go up the street to Fullerton and stay at Howard Johnson's for $100 a night, and then drive back. And I'll go into California Adventure one day, and I come back. I'll go to Disneyland. Right. So I go to California Adventure, and I'm by myself. I'm just kind of, well, let's see what things about. And I kind of do all the little things. I enjoy the roller coasters, and I really liked the Guardians of the Galaxy thing that they had. It's a Tower of Terror. Basically, they kind of drop you. Most terrifying ride I've ever been on, honestly, is that Guardians of the Galaxy thing. It's just I don't know. I did not want to go on that one again. That one was really really scary for me. Really, I was already been through emotional whirlwind, and there was also a ride called Emotional Whirlwind. I'm like, I'm not going on that because I've already been through that. Anyhow, I would stay in the Titty Twister bar for 3 days from the dusk to dawn. There you go. Anyhow, let's see. So where am I going with all? I'm getting to a point. I promise people, I'm getting to a point. All right. But I go there and I realize that this is the first time I've been to a theme park, like a Disneyland theme park, where I actually had a smartphone. I didn't realize that right before. Like the last time I went to a Disneyland or I hadn't been to California Adventure since like it opened. So we're talking like 1998. That's how long it's been since I've been to California Adventure. So obviously a lot has changed. But I haven't been to a Disney park since I got a smartphone. Like that's how long it's been. And I realized, when I'm waiting in line, I can actually, while I'm waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy, I can text my doctor my blood pressure results so that they can order me new blood pressure medication. Oh my gosh. Am I old? All right. So anyhow, so I go to California Adventure. I do all the rides. I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing. I do the Incredibles. I think my favorite ride in that place was the Incredibles roller coaster. That was the most fun, I thought. That was quite a lot of fun. What else did I do there? I did the Bigfoot Rapids thing. I did, and I had the rides were fun. I had a good time. Just kind of wandering about, taking pictures. I took my film camera, took some pictures, and I went back, and I was kind of depressed that night. So, I got through the night, came back to Disneyland the next day, and I go through. I definitely wanted to see the Star Wars thing. So I went to the Star Wars thing, and I thought, boy, that Rise of the Resistance ride that they have, the Rise of the Resistance ride, truly, really well done. Like as far as telling a story, as far as, a ride that tells a story that feels like a substantial story. It feels like part of the Resistance and all that. Felt good. Like it was a good ride. And then I ended up riding that 3 times that day just because I liked it so much, right? And so I enjoyed that a lot. And then I went to do all the other, I did like the Smuggler's Run up there in Star Wars. They had the Star Tours. So Star Tours had changed since I was a kid or younger. I wasn't a kid when I last went. Star Tours it was updated, so I checked that out. They did Hyperspace Mountain, which is basically Space Mountain with Star Wars music, which it's still Space Mountain, right? But then I did like Pirates of the Caribbean, and the Haunted House was closed. I did Indiana Jones, and I did all that stuff. But the thing I wanted to kind of bring out, or the point was like I was there for the first day that they brought back Fantasmic. I don't know if you know what Fantasmic is. If you're not Disneyland folk, if you're not familiar with Disneyland, Fantasmic may sound weird. Fantasmic, they have this river that goes around New Orleans Square. And Fantasmic at night, I remember when I was a kid, when they first introduced Fantasmic, and it was the greatest thing. And it was, basically, it's this river show. It's like this big, giant show where they have all the characters. Like Mickey has this thing where he has imagination, and he starts dreaming about things, and all the Disney characters come to life. And then he has like this dream, and then the evil witch comes from Sleeping Beauty, right? Maleficent comes in and it's like, I'm going to take over your dream. I'm going to control it now. And then she turns the dream into a nightmare, right? And then there's a big battle between good and evil. And finally, Mickey wins, and it's, dream. Everybody's excited and happy. And I think Disneyland and Fantasmic had a lot to do with my desire to become a filmmaker, had a lot to do with my desire to play trumpet. Because I can hear those trumpet calls from Fantasmic. That's part of the reason why I play the trumpet, is because of that Fantasmic. So anyhow, I'm taking a long ass approach. I'm sorry, this is just cheaper than therapy. So I'm just talking to you. So last April, they had Fantasmic show, and they had a dragon. Like Maleficent turns into a dragon. And then it starts spewing fire across the lake, right? But then the dragon caught on fire. And there's actually video of this happening. I can see if I pull it up for you, just so you can get some context of what happened here. So I don't know how many people here. There's only like 30 people here watching. I mean, this video will get 1,000 views eventually. But there's only 30 people here. I don't know how many people are familiar with the Fantasmic Fantasmic fire. Like, familiar with the actual fire of the dragon. Like, here, I'll just pull this on screen for you guys. Let's go to cut there, or fade. Where is the... Am I not doing desktop capture? That's why. I gotta switch this over. Anyhow, I'll pull it up here in a second. I'll keep talking as I... So, last... let me just... I gotta change this, and I gotta go to NDI capture, and local desktop capture, and then we'll go Google Chrome. And then I should probably pull it up. Is it pulling it up? I gotta show this, but I want to show this to you. There it goes. All right, fade. See if you can actually see this thing. Is it blocked? Don't tell me it's blocked. Well, if it is blocked, you can see, like, I don't know if you can see this in the video itself. Like, the whole thing's on fire. Like, it's just damaged all over the place, right? They had the whole thing's just on fire. They're basically shuttling people out of the place because this dragon, this like 3-story dragon, is completely on fire. Anyhow, I hope you can actually see that. I think you can. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can. So, yeah. So that was last April. Okay. And then I was there on Friday, this last Friday here. And it was the first night where they were reintroducing Fantasmic. They finally brought it back. They're like, oh, it's it's been a year. It's been down for a year. And so I got in line. So there's like a, so you love Furiosa? I liked Furiosa. I just don't know if I love Furiosa. I love the character. Anyhow. So I was around 9:30 or so, because the show started at 9:30. Around 9 o'clock, I wander over there, and I get inside this little roped off area for the people that want to see the show. All right, and then I just start kind of listening to other people talk, and I started talking to these two girls that were in front of me. One was from Victorville, who came all the way out just to see this show. Another girl was from like San Fernando Valley, who just came all the way out, just drove 2.5 hours just to see this show, because they were so excited to see the show. And then on my other side over here, there was like a tall dude who was like, has some conspiracy theories about the show. It's like the reason why they caught on fire because Disney wanted to save some money. And they're talking to some other girls over here. They were all like Disney folks that have passes, and they just come and do their thing. And I'm like, hey guys, I haven't been to a theme park in 12 years. So, all right. So we see the Fantasmic show, and it's not bad. It's not quite the way I remembered it, but that's, I remembered it from 13 years ago. And the two people in front of me were really disappointed. They're like, that's it? Because we didn't get a new dragon. We got like Elizabeth like grows tall, and Disney and Mickey doesn't like shoots lasers at her. They're like, that's it? That's it? Oh my gosh. That was a letdown. So they were all let down by the Fantasmic show. And what was interesting was the girl in front of me from Victorville live streamed the entire show on her phone. She live streamed her entire show on her phone. And remember, the last time I had been to Disneyland, I had not been in the era of smartphones, right? The last time I was in a theme park, I had to talk with my friends. I went by myself, so I didn't have any friends to talk to. But, she live streamed the whole show on her phone. And she wasn't the only one. And that kind of threw me way off. So, and after the show, I was like, I want to go Rise of the Resistance again. So I go on that ride. And then before I left, I wanted to ride the one ride that my dad always loved. And I mean, I did ride It's a Small World because that was my ride as a kid. I loved that. So I wanted to just experience it again. But I wanted to ride another ride that my dad always loved. And I always loved going to Disney with my dad. And I rode Peter Pan ride, which is another weird, if you want to make some psychological connections of things. Peter Pan ride was my dad's favorite. And it was like 11:30 at night. And I was in line with Peter Pan ride. And there's a couple things I noticed. First of all, there weren't a whole lot of kids left. It was a 45-minute line to get on Peter Pan the ride, and it was maybe like 5 kids in the whole thing. It was all adults. It was all adults. And then I saw one guy who had a camera rig for his phone with like a handle and an extra battery and all that stuff. And he was live streaming. And it was weird. And I was trying, and I'm kind of lost for words right now because I'm trying to explain how I feel about all of this. Because I feel like, I don't know, zombies, somebody says. Yeah, a little bit. Because I feel like there's something missing at Disneyland. Like there was, it's not a fun, it's like the fun of Disneyland, the fun of fantasy, the fun of play is being replaced with something a little bit more insidious. The word's not insidious. The word's something else. Feels like there's something weird. And it feels like connections are not being made. Now, to be truthful, I'm still processing my breakup for a week and a half. So I was in a place that I was supposed to go with her, in a relationship that, was supposed to be made a big deal about. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of here out of spite because I don't want Disney to just take my money. But then I'm seeing people, adults, live streaming this. And I noticed something about the park employees too. And this is going to sound very cruel. That in the old days, Walt Disney used to have he used to cast his employees. He used to have like a rule, like no facial hair. Like if you had a mustache, you couldn't work at Disneyland. Everyone had to be clean cut. There was a very strict policy about how you looked and how you presented yourself at Disneyland as an employee. And now, I'm going to just say it, it's going to sound very cruel. It feels like Disneyland employs just like failure to launch people that have issues, that have that aren't like confident. And I just get the sense that they're not like, it's not like a job that people that have a lot of confidence will have. Does that make sense? I know it's going to sound cruel, and I don't mean to sound cruel with that. It just feels like, I don't get a sense that there's obviously some employees that look like they're with it, but a lot of employees look like they have. And I hate to say this, this is just me talking here, but it's like they can tell you what their mental illnesses are. And rather than finding people that are more like, I am who I am, and I'm confident, and I'm willing to, I want to do this job because I enjoy it. It's like you get this kind of sheltered Disney people, and they're very like emotionally stunted kind of thing. Again, casting a wide net, I'm going by superficial looks. A lot of employees didn't look like that. A lot of employees looked like they were young kids that were just, getting a job and doing the job. But some of them felt like they were there because they want to retreat into a world of fantasy rather than dealing with like the reality of life. Again, processing maybe my breakup a little bit, but so where am I going with all this too? The title of the stream was, what was the title stream? Fall Guy Furiosa, failure to get people excited about something new. Fantasmic wasn't about something new. So the people I was with were upset because they didn't have this in the show. Like, they wanted, they were happy that Peter Pan now is presented in the show, that Peter Pan now rides the Columbia sailboat as it goes around, and there's a big Peter Pan fight with Captain Hook. They wanted the old. They want that oldness. At one point they had replaced that with Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, right? But they wanted something old, and they wanted the comfort of the old Disney story. And And essentially, sometimes when you go see, like, when you go to the park, it's fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say, like, oh, it's not fun to go to Star Wars land and enjoy, pretend to be like, feel like we're in a Jedi world, right? But it still feels old. Like, there's no daring. There's nothing new. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was trying to look this up. Like, why did Walt Disney make a theme park ride about folklore about Caribbean pirates who murder, rape, and maraud and plunder? And it's like in the song itself. Like, what the hell was he thinking? Like, it wasn't based on an old property, right? It was like a brand new, hey, let's do a thing about pirates, huh? Let's just do that. Let's just do pirates. And it became the most popular ride of the place, and it spun off to a $4.5 billion movie. I looked at all this up. This is why having a smartphone in a line is a good way to deal with sitting in line at Disneyland. But it felt so fresh and new at the time. And now it's like everything from the Fantasmic show, like everyone just wanted old stuff. And then sitting in for Peter Pan, like I was there for nostalgia reasons too. But it felt like, there was parents with their adult children, and they looked, I don't know how to say this. They looked like they could tell you all their mental problems. I'm sorry. I don't know how better to say this. They looked like Tumblr people, right? They can tell you a million things. And yes, I'm processing shit from my relationship where it felt like she could not embrace new and just stuck in the old. So yeah, it's all in there. It's all swirling together. And then, movies like Fall Guy. All right, Fall Guy, new idea, but no one wants to embrace it. Furiosa, all right, Furiosa's retreading some things, but no one wants to embrace it. I've been sitting here kind of on my bully pulpit here saying, Disney, why can't you make a new property? Why can't you just get me excited about something new? Why is everything has to be an old property? Why does everything have to be a remake of a classic film that you did? Why are you saying you get excited about Inside Out 2? And look, Inside Out 2 might be actually a good idea for a sequel, because now you can address like feelings, and you can do things very thoughtfully about the growth of another, because the first movie addressed younger, feelings from a younger perspective. Maybe you can address things that are a little older. So that's not a bad idea, but I feel like just give me something new. Do I still have, no, I don't have that on there. Like, and so it's got me kind of wondering if we just can't have new things. Because every time somebody puts out something new, we punish them by not going to that. We punish them by not giving new stuff attention, instead favoring old stuff. Constantly the old stuff and old stuff. And maybe, as some people were saying, that maybe nostalgia is a form of hoarding. Is nostalgia a form of hoarding? Is nostalgia a form of, it's a comfort. Yeah, comfortably numb. And I feel that. Like, I feel that scary, and it's scary as fuck. I'm sorry. And my brain is swirling with a lot of different emotions, right? Like a lot of different thoughts about things and how. And the one thing I definitely, I don't want to get into a lot of details, because this is not the place to do it. But like with my relationship, a lot of the issues I saw as her holding on to a past and not embracing a future. And that fucking scares me. Like, I cannot handle that. And I feel like coronavirus, the COVID stuff, really, really caused a lot of this bullshit that we're feeling right now. Like we got super scared of stuff, super afraid, super inward looking. And now I do Student of the Month program, and it's all the theme of the Student of the Month program is mental health. Mental health, mental health, mental health. And I absolutely agree, 100% mental health is really important. But if all we do is shine a light inwardly instead of like outwardly, instead of, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. And I'm saying things like, and I've had people come on the stream, and I had one guy way back when, this is when I was in my relationship, telling me like how he's so lonely, he's so sad, he just wants to off himself, and he just feels so bad. And the advice I had for him was to look outward. Like stop looking inward and feeling self-pity. And this is something I had to do, right? This is something I've had to do for years, decades of doing this. I was so inwardly self-pitying that I just felt like crap. And this is during the heyday of Filmmaker IQ. I was superly inwardly shy. Like doing a live stream like this would be terrifying. To basically pull out my heart and, Indiana Jones pull out, here you go, see my heart, that kind of thing, right? This is insane. But I'm doing it because, I don't know, I think maybe because there's a reason if I share my feelings, maybe it'll help you guys out. I don't know. Or just makes me feel better, whatever. That was my point. I don't remember. So so I'm afraid of looking inward. And I feel like that's all Disney can do. I'm tying it back in. Bringing it back together. I feel like all Disney can do is just look inward. And it's just spiraling. And I feel society, though, but I feel like society's rewarding that. Society will only go to Disney movies that are remakes, that are live action nonsense. Like film threat, which I like. I like their channel, and I like Alan Ng, and I like, he used to be a big Disney guy, right? Like he has been documenting this downward trend of Disney. And I told you about how I feel like the employees are no longer the confident, go-getters. They're now basically, I hate to say that, but Tumblerinas. I said that already. Like the Tumblr folks that tell you exactly all the acronyms of all the mental illnesses they have. Like, I don't know. I've delved down into a bunch of stuff about attachment theory, and I've delved a lot into psychology stuff. I still have to remind myself, though, like at the end of the day, I can say someone is an avoidant attachment style. That's one lens of how you look at it. Doesn't mean it's the only lens. And there's still responsibility. People have responsibility for what they do, right? So you can look at a lens and say, well, that was an avoidant attachment style, and I'm an anxious attachment style. So therefore, we have to be careful how we communicate. Like, no, that's a cool way to look at it. It's a lens to look at it. But there's still like responsibility for what you do, right? So what my whole point with all that is that when it comes to Disney and it comes to like the stuff that they're putting out, like we can, I think I went off on a crazy tangent. Anyhow, I think the problem is, I think even in the creative side of things, they've hired a lot of people that are like that have this kind of sheltered, I hate to say it, theater kid mentality, where they don't necessarily want to be the creators. They don't want to be the stars. Like in my heart, if I did theater, I would want to go full blast and make it the best I could make it. Whereas a lot of people that are in theater just want to be part of the chorus, and then maybe just do the dance, but not really like pop and lock it. All right. That's the one thing I've noticed about, if you watch high school musicals, real high school musicals, and like professional theater dancers, is like if there's a dance sequence in the high school, there's like It's very lackadaisical. Whereas you watch a professional, it's like fa, 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 boom, pa, pa. Like everything's snappy, and it's like right versus like right. And I think Disney hired a lot of that, and then victim mentality, the whole victim mentality of society, how everybody's just like, well, you don't like me because I'm non-binary and you use the wrong pronoun. So, therefore, anyhow, have I seen what I think of Shogun? I have not seen Shogun. I have not watched anything because my relationship took up a lot of my time. I didn't get to do anything. Now I'm getting back to watching movies. I've got to finish up For All Mankind. I got one more episode. I got Furiosa. I watched Furiosa and I watched Fall Guy. So that was good for me. And Fall Guy was a movie that we were supposed to watch together, but that didn't happen because it was her ex-boyfriend's birthday. Oh, I'm not going to talk about that. Sorry. She's not watching at this point anyway. Anyhow. Idea for new channel, Filmmaker Mental Health. That would be a good channel. So I feel like, and if I'm going to say something about this whole experience I've had, and it honestly, for me, even though I hurt like tremendously over the last couple of weeks, kind of coming on the other side of it, 100% positive experience for me. Like it got me, I'm way more confident about myself from this relationship because it's like I know how to handle myself and I'm not afraid of what I need and what I'm going to need in the person that I'm with. So I'm super jazzed at the moment. It comes in waves and goes, but I feel like it was a lot of positive change for me. So I'm excited about that, you know, and hopefully I can channel that into finishing my damn comic book, which is about relationships, which is great because now I got even more material. I got more stuff for that. So, you know, I'm going to do well, but I haven't watched Shogun. I would like to watch Shogun. Looks like pretty good. But yeah. We need to bring things back to self-reliance and getting shit done and confidence to continue going forward. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like that's a thing, right? Okay, here. I want to read your other comment, Mathan. Before I went full ball into photography and videography, I was working in public health. My master's is in public health. That's true. Gone too far much into introspection. Oh, wow. I really appreciate that comment. Yeah, because I'm a full-blown filmmaker, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that sense of self-introspection. And they also think, like, I spent a week and a half here just full-blown inward looking. Full-blown. And I try to look out a little bit and try to, like, when I started seeing like patterns that other people were experiencing that were just like, holy crap, this is identical to my experience. I started seeing that. It started to bring me out of this, you know, funk. And I started to look into research I looked into like people talking about attachment theories. And again, like I said, it is one way of looking at it, but it is just a lens. It's kind of like critical race theory. Critical race theory is a way to look at history. It's not the only way to look at history. That's the problem. It's like we can't just single-mindedly look at critical race theory and just approach everything as if it's a Marxist approach. Just like we can't take every single story and say this is a hero's journey story. Like we can use these lenses to kind of figure out patterns. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily the totality of what it means. Anyhow, I know this got heavy, right? A little heavy. I think so. Let's see some of your comments. I gotta get going pretty soon because I agreed to do a pool party with my friends. We're gonna watch Neil Breen's latest movie. Get that? Are you guys excited for me? I want to see Neil Breen's latest movie. I am so excited, and we'll go for some swim too. I'm in a country without the suburban hellscapes that revive me. Walking to eat in the morning, vibrant lives outside instead of driving a box in a sterile, isolated place. You just made a miserable place. Yeah, you're not wrong, But I think it's less miserable if we just didn't shelter ourselves so much. Like the pandemic taught us to be distant. I'm sure it made my ex. I think it fucked her brain up to the point where she's confided to me that she was scared of everything. She was scared all the time, and she's a big germaphobe. I think pandemic contributed to that, but I think it made people scared and angry, and the politics is out of control. So I didn't know. She kind of got me into being more religious, and I'm still holding on to it because I feel like there's a lot it offers me that's beyond what she. I don't think she's as religious as I am, honestly. She's watching this. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel. It's the truth. Anyhow, I didn't know if I wanted to go to church this morning until I watched a little bit on YouTube. I was like, I heard a little bit of the message. I'm like, I need to go see this thing. And so I went, and it was very good to sit there and experience with other people, being with other people. Even if it wasn't like I wasn't talking to anybody else, just being with other people helped a lot. And I happened to see some people that I knew, but I didn't say hi to them. I should have, but hey, I'm not fully good yet. So, yeah, you said the best way for my mental health is to walk outside, look around a vibrant environment, and listen to interesting stories. Walk to touch grass is a miserable meme. It's true though, like touching grass or just being with people. And I hate that. I hate that is become. All right, so I'll say it. I'm going to share a little bit. Part of my relationship with her was she considered herself an introvert, in which she needed to get away from people in order to rejuvenize. And I think there's a level of that is okay, that is fine. However, when it gets dangerous is when you just shun people, when you just push everybody away. And that's what happened, basically, at the end, pushing everybody away. And that's not healthy. But I feel like what we've gone through in the last 4 or 5 years with COVID, with social media, with politics being as nasty as it is, like it's acceptable behavior, it's understandable behavior to become a complete hermit, an isolated person. And I think coming out of this, I'm like, when I was in it, I'm like, okay, maybe that's just the way some people cope with reality. It's the way some people cope with stress, is to just be alone and be away from, and especially some people that they love, right? To just, give me alone time, give me space. Let me just deal with this. And I thought that was natural. I'm of the other opinion now. I'm thinking that if it taken to a too much of it, so people need space. I get it. People need distance to go through things, to understand things. I do too. Okay. Sometimes I just need a second to just, okay, let me think about this. But healthier response is to find people to talk to and communicate with and enjoy people's company. And I swear, I don't know. I've got friends who are still kind of like, they live inside their room, inside their internet, right? If the internet went down, their lives would be over because they have they have nothing else. Like the internet, this tube of electrons is their only umbilical cord to the society, right? And man, I don't want that. I just don't want that. It's so utterly scary of that, scared of that, to have that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Joe, as the steering hands of America, is something to bother everyone. I don't think Joe Biden steers anything. I don't think he does at all. I think it's a lot of other people that do. Looking forward to walking barefoot in the summer. It's so unrelated. I walk barefoot in my house, so that's just the way. Hey, I'm Asian. It's the way we always. You always take your shoes off when you get to the door. You never wear your shoes in the house. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid. I'm not afraid to be different because it looks too scary to me. To all people be the same. Yeah, I think going through all this, it's like I find a lot of stories about a lot of other people and how they've gone through their relationships and how they're like, and I read the other people's stories and I'm like, dude, that is exactly what happened. Like, dude, that is exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Like, it's such a common drama, common story. And guess what? It's more fodder for my future stuff that I want to make. I always forget Americans wear their shoes inside. I don't know why anybody would. That's how you get your house dirty. Take your shoes off. Use your feet. Yeah. From Kennedy to Joe is a distance. Yeah, no kidding. John Kennedy to Joe Biden. My favorite Joe Biden thing, and this is why he should just be disqualified from the election. I'm sorry if you're a Democrat, but he said like, everybody, that's why I want to be 4 more years. Pause. 4 more. He actually read the word pause. He literally did an Anchorman thing. He said pause. And the thing about that is, I'm sure my Democrat friend who hates the fact that hates everything not Democrats. He probably never seen that clip. Anyhow, I don't know. I think there's bigger things to be. Politics is so lame because it's like such a trifling thing, and they make it so big. It's like, I can't believe you don't want to root for the Dallas Cowboys. How can you not root for the Dallas Cowboys? Are you a sick person? Are you a pedophile because you will not root for the Dallas Cowboys? And that seems like what politics is. I mean, it used to be kind of, I mean, maybe at one point it was about issues, about how like competing philosophies to how to run the nation. But now it's just basically, oh, you're just evil. And look, I'm going to say it, both sides. Anyhow. There's a great channel that posts only 4 videos in the last 10 years on what the U.S. living suburban do the brains. As an immigrant, I knew that then. 10 years ago when I landed in America, instead of New York and their stories, the environment made introverts worse. Yeah. Well, I think COVID made introversion worse. Like, so the way my ex explained it to me was extroversion means you draw energy from being around other people. And introversion means you draw energy by being by yourself. You recharge by being by yourself. By that definition, that makes me an extrovert. Like me being here talking to you is energizing to me. I'm going to walk away feeling really high. Like Colorado high. Like I didn't do any of that stuff to get high. Just being here, being on show, being with people gets me up. Whereas it would make her down. But then again, I was doing that play with the high schoolers, and that was overwhelming. I really had to go off. There were times I literally had to step out of the orchestra pit just to like, and have some silence. So I think that maybe that whole extrovert, introvert thing, it depends. Like if I'm in a situation where I have no control and I'm around a lot of people, I could see I need to be by myself to like recharge. But in a situation like this, where you're all kind of like talking to me, you're kind of giving me energy, this is amazing. This is a great feeling. This is a great side to be on as far as a stream is concerned. You know, but I forgot my point with that. But yeah, I think so. By my whole point, I guess, with that was I think introversion to an extent can be actually against the human evolutionary process. I've been watching a lot of, by the way, if you haven't watched Healthy Gamer, Dr. K, I really like him. Like I love that guy. He's been pretty instrumental in my growth the last couple of weeks, is listening to Dr. K and the Healthy Gamer. If you haven't checked them out, I would say check out some of this stuff. I think it's really fascinating. As far as like dialing into, and he talks a lot to introverts or people that can call themselves introverts. People are the failure to launch people, like this. He has a really good way of touching those nerves. Yeah, I don't know. Need to pack to be back in the U.S. Pop in and out of stream. Good luck. Yep. Good luck with the packing. Extroversion means you make jerks feel like you're stealing attention from them. Introverts means you're vulnerable to memes. Not a bad one. Politics with the promotion that they take our responsibilities, take our rights. Yeah. Energy vampires. Yeah. I'm sucking your energy dry. All right. I really have to get going because I want to get to my party on time to go swimming with the guys and be with people. Be with people in IRL. Just IRL. And I don't need add the word in because I is in. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. Just kind of going through all my drink a lot. I'll drink a little bit. I don't know if I'll drink anything at all. I'll just have some food, some good food. I'll try to keep the carbs low. Looking good in the neighborhood. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I will say it. I'm doing okay. Right now, I'm okay. She made a big mistake, but I'm here. So, to more filmmaker IQ stuff, to getting my comic book finished, to getting more work done, and actually getting it done in a decent time. So, with that, I will leave you to it. I'm going to fade to black, and I'll check you out next week for sure. We're going to get back on a regular streaming schedule. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.